this morning before our meeting, and it turns out that I have about 25,000 words worth of short stories, which is enough for a collection of short stories. It's about 100 pages. So I'm almost ready to publish 2 books, and I'm really excited about that.
Right.
Woo-hoo!
That's
Right.
great. That's great.
March, tell us about yours.
Yeah, pub day for me, it's Tuesday. The book is out. You can see the MSNBC thing here where I got my book in the back. And yes, it's out and it's available in Barnes and Noble at the stores, as well as, of course, on all the online sites. And it's doing really well. We got tremendous reviews on Booklist and Library Journal and forward reviews. And it's been, I've just really been lucky. My publisher has been tremendously supportive. And some of the books actually got out a little early. Nobody really knows why they snuck out, but I know Lynn got one.
That's the weirdest thing. I got mine before the publication date. It wasn't available on Amazon. I got mine in the mail like 3 weeks before it was supposed to be published. The hardcover.
I did that for you. Yes,
It was really great. Thank you.
Yeah, no, but it's been really great. Like I said, I got down to number 52 on Amazon last week, and
That's
it isn't been out
amazing.
yet. So I'm really happy. The support from the publisher after self-publishing for 10 novels. To see what you can get with the real publisher is just really amazing. And last week I finished the first draft of the sequel to this book.
Excellent.
All right.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Kudos.
Terrific. All right. Anybody else have a story for us? I have
I do. Ellen?
Kathleen.
Yes, the anthology I've been working on with 9 other authors. We started loading up yesterday and we'll finish loading it into all the retailers plus Amazon, and it will launch on the 4th of March.
Soon.
And we're working on doing our very first interview panel on Zoom for the 10 authors and anybody who wants to come and listen and ask us questions and stuff like that. So we're pretty excited about it.
Kathleen, what's the name of the book?
It's called Tolerance. And it's set up as like the old 45 record. We have an A side and a B side. Everybody wrote 2 stories.
Oh, wow.
So it's about 63,000 words long. And side A is all about tolerance. Side B is something from the heart.
Wow, cool. Congratulations.
Yes, indeed.
Is that going to be on Amazon?
Yes,
Ellen.
it'll be on Amazon and all the other retailers too.
Okay.
Okay, great. Ellen, you had something.
I did. Yeah. So as Lynn already mentioned, I had a nice blurb in our 4 Seasons Hemet Herald magazine about my book, Grateful for the Color Blue. And I entered a Writer's Digest self-published book award writing contest 6 months ago, and I got results. And even though I didn't win, they wrote a review of my book, giving it 5 stars, used the words outstanding and excellent read. And I'm just tickled to pieces.
Congratulations.
Nice.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything? I see no. Am I missing one? Oh, yes, Karen.
I got my Pandemonium book up on Draft to Digital and out published with all the ebook resources. I haven't quite figured out how to market it yet, but I will. And then hopefully by the 14th of this month, I'll put up my my second book. So my goal this year is to get up all 4 of my books. So I'm working on getting the second one up.
Yes.
Good work. Good
Good
work.
work indeed.
Anybody else? Dennis.
If you're sharing a little bit about accomplishments, I'm very humbled to say that I ended up getting an agent 2 Tuesdays ago, and I'm working with her, and There are a lot of writers' conferences out there, and I would just encourage you to attend some to get a little bit of an idea about, and some of them are virtual now. And what that means is they'll have tapes of everybody, and you get to watch them in the order that you want to watch them. So that gives you a tremendous amount of leeway in terms of your timing and time management. So that could be very helpful. And so I'm just excited to move forward with my career. And it's moving from a serious hobbyist to professional. And just if any of you go through this transition, you start to realize, one lady wrote to me and said the stakes increase and the pressure does too. And so I'm ready for that. And sometimes that's what we work for. And when it happens, you least expect it. So keep knocking on those doors and keep on going. Everybody be encouraged.
Good job, Dennis.
Excellent,
Yeah.
Dennis. Yes. Congratulations. Somebody else?
Yeah, Jim, can you hear me?
Yes, Cindy, yes.
I just wanted to stress the importance of all these wonderful things that are happening to our friends that are in this group. And I want to stress the importance of leaving reviews for each writer on their books, because that helps them with sales. It helps them to be encouraged to keep writing. So make sure you're doing that for everybody. That was
Very good
Well
idea.
said.
Thank you,
Well
Cindy.
Okay, is that it? All right, then we're gonna move on.
Wait.
Wait.
I apologize. I can't find a way to put my name in. I'm not 43945.
You're not the convict.
I'm Marilyn Joy and Marge. Hey, congratulations.
Thank you. Hi, Marilyn. So good to see you.
Yeah.
Okay, I just one little thing about I have a book coming out, published, I don't know when, probably 6 months from now. But my publisher got a hold of me, and they're going to do video interview plus a audio version of the book, and which all sounds exciting. It's The Carney Way, which is a kind of a sequel of sorts to the first novel I ever wrote.
Great
At any
title.
rate, yeah. So at any rate, that's it. And at this spot, let's move on. And the next on my agenda for today is Lynn, and she wants to talk about the organization's Facebook. Lynn?
Yeah, I just want to mention to everybody that if you're not on Facebook and you don't like Facebook, that's okay. You don't have to be a member of Facebook to be able to access the Diamond Valley Writers Guild Facebook page. You just go to facebook.com/Diamond Valley Writers Guild, no spaces, of course, and you can access all of the information that's on that site, which is what they do for business pages. And the reason I think that's important, in case you haven't visited there, is because a number of us, myself included, often post things when we see like a contest or a free video about how to do a matter of craft or marketing. For example, some of the things that I've posted recently were the Elements of Platform, a free online short story workshop that was just killer. It was the best I've ever seen, and it was free. How to use Goodreads as an author. Those were videos, by the way. Those are like webinars. The difference between what kind of editors are available and what they do for you. These are all, things that are helpful to us as writers. So if you just check in every now and then to that Facebook page and see what's available, just scroll down, click on the link and learn something. There's so much available now that you don't have to pay for. It's really great.
Okay, thank you, Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
Next, I'm going to go to Michelle and membership.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Hey.
As of this morning, we have 41 paid members. Thank you, Marge. I saw your PayPal come through this morning. That's what helps us keep these programs going, because everything, as you know, even though we're a nonprofit, it costs money to have a Zoom link and to have a website and to have the different programs that we do have going in our online literary magazine. So if you have been enjoying the program and haven't had a chance to send in your $20, there's a lot of benefits to membership. The first and foremost is that if you are a member, you can submit your work to Straight Jackets magazine. and have a chance of being published in our literary magazine, which has been doing very, very well. In fact, I'm sure when they get to the Straight Jackets report, they'll tell you about the progress that we're making on the best of, which will be an actual book of the best of Straight Jackets over the last 5 years. So there's some benefits there as a member. If you're not a member, you are not eligible for publication in the literary magazine. You also get 10% off on our local Cameron Books, who has been around for as long as I can remember. And I've lived in the Valley in the Hemet San Jacinto Valley since 1965. Let's see, the last benefit is that, you get to vote. So when our elections come up in October, you actually get a say on whose faces and whose voices you're hearing on a monthly basis. So it's a very inexpensive way to support the writing community. We try to bring valuable programs once a month via Zoom at this point. And even when we go back to live at the Hemet Public Library, which we're all hoping is sometime soon, we do intend to somehow do a hybrid. We've not really ironed that out, but the board is, as a group has said we think it's a good idea to figure out some way to continue with a Zoom presence. So our members and the people that are not members but enjoy hanging out with us once a month can continue to be a part, whether you live in Arizona like Kathleen does. I know we have people that live clear across the country that sometimes tune in to our Zoom meetings. So again, if you've not already, it's very, very simple to your membership. You can either do it via PayPal or you can send a check to our PO box, which I don't have with me. I'll put it in the chat at some point during our meeting, or if someone else has it handy, if they could stick it in the chat, our PO box and our PayPal. Yes, Lynn.
I was just going to say what it is, but it's PO Box 1154.
Thank you.
And I'll put it in the chat.
And I haven't checked the PO box in the last week, so it's possible we have more than 41 members, but we're down about 28 from our highest membership total. So we'd love to see people renew. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. Okay, we're going now to our very important writing tip from Sandy. Sandy, yours.
Well, the last week or so, I was looking through some things I had written a long time ago, and I came across a piece that I had written for a Gotham writers workshop that I took on humor. And this one piece, the instructor said lots of nice things, and this was high concept. And I didn't pay too much attention to that at the time. I just took it as a nice positive stroke. But as I looked at it again, there's a tremendous echo something. I'm doing alto and soprano. I'm the Supremes.
I'm going to mute all, and then you unmute yourself.
It's possible that it's picking up your own speaker, Sandy. You might want to turn your speaker down.
Oh, okay.
You sound fine now, Sandy.
Okay. So I was looking and wanted to know more about what did that high concept mean. And as I looked it up, I'm not sure it was totally clarified, but I'm going to share my findings with all of you. That one site said high concept is a captivating premise or log line to a book or movie that generates reader audience appeal without attached elements such as critic reviews or casting. Writer's Digest said high concept exists on a continuum of expression. It's not a single definable attribute. It's more like a collection of qualities. And Eric Burke, who wrote The Idea and has gotten Emmys and Oscars for his screenwriting, said high concept means an outrageous situation of some kind, not necessarily fantastical, but extreme, unexpected, unlikely, and with obvious entertainment value and broad appeal. And it struck me a lot like that Supreme Court justice who said he didn't quite know how to define pornography, but he knew it when he saw it. That's kind of how agents and producers talk about what high concept means. But of the elements that seem to be there for what they term high concept novels and movies, there's a high degree of originality, finding new ways to make the familiar into something that the audience or the reader hasn't seen before. Usually it's born out of a what if question. Clear emotional focus evoking like fear, joy, hate, rage, something, and the inclusion of a unique element. And so some of the examples, I wrote down some examples, like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein took a familiar idea, the evil monster terrorizes humans, and added an original take. The monster and humans switch moral ground, and the humans terrorize the monster. Or in terms of the what ifs, what if there were a theme park with dinosaurs that got loose? That's that simple concept for Jurassic Park. Or the Hunger Games was a dystopian society where kids fight to the death on a reality show. And I was intrigued with an interview that Suzanne Collins had as to how she came up with the idea for the Hunger Games. And she had been watching footage of the Iraq War and then flipped the channel and there were some reality shows on. So she did the what if, and we know that that was quite the success. So there are a number of books and movies that find that unique quality. It's like we need to start with a premise by brainstorming ideas and combining two unexpected things, or starting with the phrase what if, or putting two things together that don't normally go together and make that familiar unfamiliar. And that's what I've learned about high concept.
All right. Thank you, Sandy. Great as always. All right. Next on the list for right now is Ellen with about Straight Jackets, our magazine. Ellen, it's all yours.
Hey, hi, everybody. I just got a text from Cheryl McGuire, the magazine's managing editor, who said she's sitting at a car dealership in wherever she lives, and says hello to everybody. She's sorry she can't be here. So Michelle mentioned the Best of Straight Jackets magazine, where we're taking articles from the magazine and turning them into a book. Greg Porterfield was the idea man behind that, and who is going to actually do the publishing for us, which is great. We took a little hiatus over the winter, but we're back at it. We had a meeting this past week. We're going to be meeting every week and moving along, hopefully quickly, with getting that back to Greg so he can publish it. And then we'll make it available to everyone for purchase. Straight Jackets magazine, we have another issue that will be coming out probably mid to late April. And I want to ask, how many of you are actually writing right now? Are any of you writing? I'm looking at the broad screen. Okay, a lot of you are, which is great. And we'd love to see it at Straight Jackets magazine. This is a great opportunity for you to get published. Looks great on a resume. If you're looking for an agent, you can say, of course, I've been published in Straight Jackets magazine. But so we'd had received several stories already. So you have 2 months. Don't wait till the last second. We'd love to take a look at what you're writing. So April 1st is the deadline. I'll be sending out another call for submissions soon. Any questions about Straight Jackets? Okay, looking forward to seeing what you're writing.
You have a question, Karen.
Oh.
You got a question here.
Yes.
Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. You're muted.
Yeah.
There we go.
I was just wondering what kind of things go into Straight Jacket magazine. Is it all fiction, short fiction, or is it essays, or what is it?
It's a little of everything. The only things we don't allow are porn.
And you know it when you see it.
Right, religious content and political content, but otherwise we are open, and we have such a wide range of experience. We've had everything from memoir. People have sent us excerpts from their book. Marge, we'd love to have a chapter from you, and also Kathleen. So yeah, we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Okay, thank you.
Ellen, can you tell them what the guidelines are for submission and the word count?
Yeah, the word count is 1,500 words, but we are flexible. We have submission guidelines. If you go to the magazine at straightjackets.org, and it's STRAIT jackets, named after Rusty Straight, and click on, you'll see 3 little lines in the corner, click on that, and there's a segment that says be a contributor, and you'll have everything right there. Let's see if I can quickly tell you. I just happen to have it on my phone. We accept short stories, essays, personal memoirs, poetry, books, excerpts, in short, anything with literary merit. We do not accept religious, political, or erotic work. No longer than 1,500 words. Send it in a Word document to straightjacketsmagazine@gmail.com. And again, it's STRAIT. I find that I can no longer spell the word straight as STRAIGHT. I just automatically go to the straight. We also ask that you submit a short personal biography, an author website address, author photograph, unless we already have that info. And if you have one, a photo or illustration that complements your submission, otherwise we will find one. We don't pay for submissions, and we have one-time rights, and deadline again is April 1st. So we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Dan, you had a question.
Yeah, can you hear me all right?
Not too good.
Not too well.
Yes.
Not too well. All right, I'll get a little closer to the mic.
That would help.
2 things really. I noticed there's some newer faces. How's this? Is this better?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I noticed there's some newer faces. I wonder if they could introduce themselves, people that weren't members last year. And also, Sandy, if you could tell us what your high concept was.
I don't see Sandy.
Sandy, you're muted.
Where is she?
Must be over here.
Oh,
There's
there
Cindy.
she is.
The high concept I used was the assignment was simply to write a dialogue between 2 characters, making them each distinctive, but because it was a humor class, it also had to be funny. So I thought it would be hilarious to take Dr. Phil with his Southern colloquialisms and his, that dog won't hunt kind of talk, and Stuart Smalley from the character from Saturday Night Live, who was this mock 12-step person who did affirmations and things, and he was forever looking in his mirror and saying, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. So the high concept part came when I made Dr. Phil come to see Stuart Smalley and to get therapy from Stuart Smalley. And so it was taking the familiar and putting the switch in.
Okay.
So that was it. Thank you for asking.
All right. Was there a second part of that question?
Yeah, there was. Dan?
Dan, what's the second part of your question?
New members to introduce themselves.
Oh, are there new members? Somebody has not been here before? Well, Fauzia, yes, our speaker today, she's about to be introduced in a few moments. Nobody else?
Becky Miller raised her hand. Go ahead and unmute Becky.
Oh, Becky?
I keep hitting it, not there, finally. Hi, I'm in Sun City right now. I'm a member of the Interrobangs, and I have 2 books in the process. I'm struggling with the format problem with the first. It's first 18 years memoir, but it's all written in short stories. And the second one is a book on cats. It's going to be called Catastrophe, and it's a highly varnished edition of cat history. So that should be coming out before too long. Right now I haven't done a word count on it, so I'm not sure, but I have about 20 stories there. They're fairly short.
Okay, well, thank you, Becky. Glad to have you join us. Okay, anybody else?
I'm a new member, but I've been here before. So.
Yes, Kathleen, you have been. All right. Next on the agenda, let's see. Next, we need to Lynette. You want to talk about a couple of things, right?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do.
Okay, let's see if I got my video going. I've got my
There you go.
member at large hat on. I want y'all to make sure that you go out and fill out the form for interest so that we can make sure that when we have our speakers and we cover things that we're meeting the needs of the people who are here, hopefully membership. But I see we got 39 participants on right now. We've had 27 people so far that have answered the questions on the form. It's a real easy form. I've put the link in the chat, and I'll go ahead and put it because now, of course, we've been talking. And so it's scrolled up to the top, but real easy. And it's just asking where you are on your members, where you are on your writer's journey, if you're a member or not, and what your interests are. Do you write fiction, nonfiction, poetry? A whole bunch of real easy, just check the boxes and submit it. And we'd love to have your feedback because it's going to help the board as we plan our meetings going forward. And there are also some questions on straitjackets that will help the editors as they go ahead and do their job. So that's my first thing, a plug for everybody. Go fill out the form if you haven't. If you have already, thank you very much. Pat yourself on the back. Good job. I appreciate that. Secondly, I'm gonna change my hat. Now, y'all know I love the Dickens Festival, and they weren't able to meet this year live like they always do. So they did a virtual fest. They did it 2 days, Saturday and Sunday last weekend, and they're doing it this weekend. And what I love about the Dickens Fest is it's writers from the Victorian era. It's Charles Dickens, it's Mary Shelley, it's Emily Dickinson, H.G. Wells, everybody that's of that era. They have people that are role playing. The gentleman who does Charles Dickens is actually a direct descendant. I believe he's his great grandson, or maybe his great great grandson. But they know tons of history about these writers, about their world, about their life. Very fun. And what they have done this year is it's still free. But they have pre-recorded the talks by the different authors. And then most of the time there's a live Zoom session right after the video. So you can go and you can watch the videos anytime, but if you want to catch it live, then you can catch the Zoom calls. A lot of fun. I know we had talked, our family has gone a couple years in a row, and there is a Writers Guild from San Diego that usually has a table down there, and they encourage kids to write. And we had talked last year about having the guild have a table down there. Of course, now it's virtual, so that kind of got killed with 2020. Thank you, COVID. But I did talk to Charles Dickens last week and said, hey, do you guys do writing contests? And he said, well, we always do for the middle school and the high school kids. And I said, no, what about us old writers? And he goes, wow, what a great idea. And he said, like a short story contest? And I said, yeah. And I said, like, pick a theme, like either a Dickens theme or a Victorian era theme. And he said they were going to look into that. So that may be something coming up for you short story writers. But it's just a lot of fun. And if you've got time this weekend, I put the link for that also in the chat, and I'll put it again so that it's not so buried. But you know, it's kind of like getting together with some writers that you wouldn't have a chance to. They have deeply researched their characters, and there are a lot of writers there. So that's my 2 cents for the Dickens Festival. I'll take my bonnet off. And yeah, there you go.
Okay, thank you, Lynette. Appreciate that
thank
very much.
you.
The survey, people, will it really help us if you have not filled it out? I'll take a look and fill it out. It doesn't take long, and it's very comprehensive, and it will give us some direction on the board. Okay, now it's time for our speaker, and I'm going to, and Michelle is going to introduce her. So Michelle, please.
Thank you.
And I'm going
Thank
to
you.
switch your only view now.
The only thing I wanted to add, because Lynette had so much wonderful information, is I don't know if you missed it, but even if you are not a paid member, we want to hear from you. If you are anyone who is even remotely interested in Diamond Valley Writers Guild, or have attended any of our events, or want to, obviously you're here now if you're listening to this, but fill out that survey, because it isn't addressed specifically to members only. It's to anyone that has interest as well. So please do that. It'll help Lynette do her job, and as vice president in charge of membership, it helps me do my job, and that would be really great. So let's move on to our speaker. Fauzia Burke, before I launch into her bio, I want to say I've heard her speak twice before. Once at Fallbrook's Writers Conference a couple of years ago. I've also heard her at San Diego Writers Conference, and she is a wealth of information, as you're going to soon learn. Probably one of the foremost people in this particular industry of book promotion. So we're incredibly, incredibly thankful that she agreed to speak to us today. It's an honor to have her here. She's the author of Online Marketing for Busy Authors, is the founder and president of SBS, which is an associate, which is an online book publicity firm, co-founder of PubSite, a platform for building author websites, and a consultant and coach for authors who need help navigating the book marketing and publicity landscape. Before starting SB, she worked for Henry Holt and John Wiley. Fauzia has promoted books by authors such as Alan Alda, Ariana Huffington, Deepak Chopra, Melissa Francis, S.C. Gwen, Micah Brzezinski, Charles Spencer, and many more. She's based in San Diego, and she can be found at fauziaburke.com, which I'll put in the chat. Welcome, Fauzia. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for finding me, Michelle. I appreciate it. And hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. Thank you for spending some part of your Saturday with us. I'm so grateful. And thank you, Jim, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to talk to your community. So I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Michelle. So I am going to talk about branding today and author platform today. And if you want to do the eye roll, can you just do it now so we can get it out of the way? Because most people do not like marketing and do not want to talk about author branding. They just want to write. And I totally get that. But of course, if you're going to write, you're going to need access to, oops, wrong screen.
There you go. All right.
Yay. Okay, so I'm going to share a little bit of, you still can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Everybody good? Okay. Talk a little bit about author platform. First of all, what it is and why we have to do it. So there's 2 times that you hear it. Authors talk about author platform all the time. Agents talk about it. Publishers talk about it. So what is the difference between all of them? So an agent is looking for basically a way that you can prove that people are interested in your writing. That's what a platform is, really. It's to show an agent and then a publisher that you have an audience, you have a built-in audience. So that's the benefit to them. They're a business. They're trying to bank on someone who can sell some books for them, right? So that's their sort of idea of why they need the author platform. Why it's important for authors is that it's basically building your marketing. You know, you can call it platform, you can call it branding, you can call it marketing, but it's basically a way for you to connect with your readers. That's kind of what it is. And one of the things, because I've been doing this for decades, let's not say how many decades, a long time. I've been doing online marketing since 95. That's when I started my company. So I've seen a lot of things evolve. And I think one of the things that I've seen with authors is that marketing is just, for most of us, I do this for a living and it's overwhelming for me. So it's not just that it's a lot to do. You know, obviously most of my authors have families and businesses, and sometimes, you know, they have full-time jobs and they're writing on the side. And now we've told them they also have to be expert marketers, right? So it's a lot to take in, it's a lot to do. So because my clients tend to be busy, which is why I wrote the book, Online Marketing for Busy Authors. You can see my ring light there. I wanted to create a sort of a formula so it makes the whole picture feel a little bit more cohesive. So let's dig into that and just talk about my own approach to it. So this is a little bit about me. That's the book that I've written called Online Marketing for Busy Authors. I'm the president and founder of FSB Associates. FSB is actually my initials. And then I literally was the first person to think online publicity was an important thing. So I guess I pioneered there. I launched the first author website, which was for Sue Grafton. For those of you in California, all of you, well, majority of you are in California, obviously a beloved Santa Barbara author. We did that in '97. And just in case you're curious about how to bribe me, I love potato chips. So in the chat, you can tell me your favorite brand and I will try them out. Okay, oops. I think we're in the, sorry, just gonna go back up. All right, here we go. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to say, and I'm going to put the link in the chat afterwards, but I have free worksheets on my website. You don't have to sign up for my mailing list or anything, but these worksheets really will help you with your marketing. What happens with a lot of authors is they jump right in doing marketing without actually having a plan. And so these will help you map out your plans, you know, why you're doing it, who your readers are, what your goals are. These things really help you make a better plan for your marketing. So really, they're free on my website. You don't have to sign up for anything or get my mailing list or anything. Of course, if you go on my mailing list, I'd be grateful, but you don't have to. Okay, the other thing I will say is that it's really important for you to be successful in marketing is to actually be friendly with data. I hate numbers. Numbers and I don't get along. I'm an English major, excuse me. But these are really important aspects because you can't really be successful in your marketing if you don't understand what's working for you. And there was a time that none of this information was available to us, but now it is. So it's really important for you to sort of keep an eye on the social media demographics because it helps you to decide which social network is appropriate for your audience. So, you know, sometimes an author will come to me and say, oh, my nephew told me about Snapchat. Should I be on Snapchat? Well, Snapchat has a very different audience than the audience that you're writing for. So sure, you can do anything. You can be on any platform. But if you're going to choose a platform, it's better to choose a platform where your audience is hanging out. So it's important to get the demographics. There's a blog on my website. My website is fauziaburke.com. There's a blog called Social Media Demographics or Demo or Stats or whatever for 2021. So that's the latest information. You can go get it. Again, that's for free. So go get that information so you have it. The second thing that I really recommend for all authors is that you need to have some kind of analytics. It can be Google Analytics. It can be other kinds of analytics for those who are using Wix or Squarespace. You may have built-in analytics there. It's important to keep an eye on your analytics because again, if you don't know what's working, where people are coming to your site from, you know, what pages they're actually looking at, you're not going to really be as successful as you need to be. And it's important to not just look at your Google Analytics once and that's it. It's kind of a growing thing. So you use it to make changes in your marketing. So I would say definitely keep an eye on that. Check on it at least every 3 months to see how things are working for you. And then social media analytics, all of the Twitter and Facebook, every platform that you use gives you free analytics on the platform. That's a really important way. For Facebook, you can actually see who's your audience, who's responding to your comments, what time of day it's better, where from which part of the country people are coming, or the world people are coming to your social media pages. So these are just some of the things that I would like you to kind of think about before jumping into marketing, because between the planning with the worksheets and having a good handle on your demographic, it will really make a huge difference in your success. You're putting in the time anyway. It's important for it to be successful. So that's what I would say you need to do. And then here's my own little formula for my clients. So when we think of branding, it's so many different elements, and a lot of people feel like things are equally important. So a lot of times when I'm doing consulting with authors, they start off with, should I be entering this contest? Should I do, TikTok videos? Should I be here? There's just so many different questions and options, right? Every time you read an article on the web, it gives you 4 more things to do. So what I feel is that when you're thinking about your sort of formula, imagine that things are not equally important. Not everything you do is equally important and equally urgent. So this formula is actually, you can think of it as phases too, where the first phase is design, which I'll go into. The second phase is engagement. And then on top of that, you build visibility. And I'm going to go over each one of those so you have an idea. But sometimes this helps us a lot when I'm working with clients, because if they're worried about one aspect of things, like what should I be blogging about, and we haven't set up our design phase, I can tell them, great question, let's hold off on it, right? It just gives you a sense of like, okay, there's a timeline here, and you don't have to do all things at the same time. So let's go over what each of these elements are. So the first one, of course, is design. And design for me means how you look online. What's your brand look, right? What does your photo look like? What does your book jacket look like? Your website, your social media platforms, the kind of graphics you create. And all of this really, we have seconds sometimes to make a first impression on people. We all know that. So all of these things make a very quick first impression, and the professional way that you present yourself in these phases makes all the difference in the world. It doesn't matter if you've been blogging every single day and the blogs are absolutely fantastic, if your website is so cluttered that people can't find them, or that your book jacket looks like your nephew created it from, as a school project. Like these things, or your author photo is a different photo on every platform and people don't know who you really are. So these are the things that you first do. So, no matter what other things that are on your mind, you want to make sure that you have a great author photo. It does not have to be professionally taken, but you do want to make sure that it's a good photo that people can recognize you when they are bouncing around the web and say, oh, I've seen this author. Obviously, I'm a big proponent of a good book jacket. If you're obviously publishing with a traditional publisher, they'll take care of that. You have no control over it. But if you're self-publishing or you're publishing with a hybrid publisher, please make sure that you spend a decent amount of money on book jackets. It's really important. It sets up, literally, it's like the logo for your platform, for your brand. And so, you want to make sure you get that right. People spend a lot of money and a lot of time getting their logo just right. So it's important for you to think about your book jacket almost in the same way, because it sets the agenda and sets the brand and the colors and the fonts for everything else you do. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of every author needs a website, and you need one even before you publish a book, because you want to start with a blog. Because you need to start building that audience, right? There's no way that suddenly you're going to come out of thin air and people are going to find you and buy your book. So start a website with your blog, and then ideally you want a platform that grows with you. So you start off with a platform that's just for the blog. You have 1 book, 2 books, 50 books. They kind of keep growing. You don't have to redesign the site. You don't have to start from scratch. You can just build on it. It's very important to have a scalable site. And of course, then you want to make sure your social media matches all of the other assets that you have. So it's the same photo, the book jacket is in the header, it matches the color of your websites. It feels like an cohesive brand. Same thing with graphics. Obviously, graphics that we find on the web, we don't have copyrights to, so don't just grab graphics. There are programs now that make making graphics really easy, and I'm going to tell you about them in a minute. And all of those things, they might take a little bit of doing for you in terms of learning a new platform for a website, or figuring out which social media platform is right for you, and figuring out how to create graphics. So before you do anything else, it's important for you to sort of think about all of these elements and learn the tools you need to make these sing, basically, right? So here are some of the tools for this piece of our branding formula. So the first one is, I'm going to tell you about PubSite, which is, I'm a co-founder, so I'm definitely biased, but we literally are book publishing people, and we've built one platform that is just for books. We're not trying to get event planners or restaurants or photographers. This platform is made for one purpose, and it's for promoting authors. So it's really easy to use. My husband and I are basically created it together. And we did it because we wanted authors to have all of the things that authors need built in one platform. So it's really easy to set up. There are lots of designs. You can change it up. At the end, maybe I'll show you my own website that I've now changed 5 times. It's so fun to be able to change your own website. It's very empowering that I don't need to ask someone to do something for me. So it's a really easy one. I'm also going to be giving all of you a special rate, which I'll tell you at the end of it. So if you want to try it, you can. It's a 14-day free trial, which means you can just come in, try it out. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't work for you, ditch it. No credit card or anything involved there. But I think you're going to love it. So I'll tell you more about it, or if you have questions, certainly let me know and I'll go over it with you. The next one that I have no financial relationship with at all is MailChimp. Lots of people use different platforms for mailing lists. They're all great. We've come a long way. I just want you to think about having one where you can start a mailing list on your website. So I just prefer MailChimp because I've been using it for a long time. There's Constant Contact, there's MailerLite, there's ConvertKit. People have lots of favorites. Whichever one is your favorite is fine. Just make sure you have one, because you do need to build your mailing list. I will tell you that your mailing list is actually more important than social media. Everyone asks me about social media. It's the sexy topic. I get a million questions about it. Very few people ask me about their mailing list, and I have to constantly tell people will buy off of your mailing list way faster, way sooner than they will on social media. Social media, you're going to get buried. Mailing list is really important because people have given you their permission to show up in their lives, which is really important. So whichever platform you use, just please use a platform for building a mailing list. I happen to just love MailChimp just because I've been using it for a long time. The next one, which I absolutely love, is a platform called Canva. It's just canva.com. I'm sure many of you have heard of it already. It allows you to make graphics very easily. In fact, now graphics and book jackets, although don't do that, get a professional designer. Social media headers, social media graphics. My God, Canva is now doing all sorts of things. And it is, to be honest, one of the most brilliant programs I've ever seen. So if you're not using it, give it a shot. There's a free option and there's a paid option, and you can do a lot in the free option. So it's really great. I created this graphic that's on your screen. I kid you not, probably in 5 minutes. That was it, and you can create graphics very, very quickly on Canva. It's one of my favorite programs. I hope you use it. And if you have not used it, I guarantee it will change your life. Guarantee. How many people get guarantees these days? And I have nothing to do with this program, no financial attachment, just it's a phenomenal program to use. So that's sort of design in its nutshell, right? And I can answer more specific questions about it, but those are the things you need to do before you do anything else in marketing. And if those things are not in place, then the rest of it is not going to be as effective, even if you spend money and a lot of time on it. So that's why that's kind of phase one for me. And authors who have not done that piece of the work, that's the first thing we do, is make sure that all those things are set up before they do other things. So once our design phase is set up, the next phase that I walk into with my clients is engagement. And engagement is basically a way for you to engage, literally, with your readers. So here are some of the options. The first thing is your own network of people. Your family, your friends, your colleagues are literally one of your number one assets. A lot of authors are, start thinking about complete strangers pre-ordering their books and all of these ideas. They sound great in theory. I can tell you from experience, that is not where it starts. It starts from your core audience, your writers groups, your business colleagues, your people who are in your guild together. Those are the people who are actually going to be the first ones to support you. So make sure that you don't leave them out of your marketing. Have a way of making sure that you're connecting with them. Have a special, online event for them. Maybe there's a mailing list that you can send out. Whatever it is, just don't leave that part out, because they're literally your most important asset. So start with them. Then the next thing, how you build an audience, is you can, obviously blog, because blogging has a lot of benefits. People have said blogging has no longer valuable. I completely disagree. I can answer that at the end if anybody has questions about it, but I think it's very important. Obviously, social media, mailing list, those kinds of ways of sharing your content. If you're going to write a blog, if you're going to write, and in my case, for example, I did those worksheets, they're in my book. I make them available on my website. I post about them on social media so people can come and get them. It's something of value that brings people to my website. So anything you can do to share content, your expertise, your, if you're a short story writer, maybe that's what you write. I loved the story about, different elements that you're learning about writing, put them in there. I also liked, I don't remember, I think it was Lynn, maybe, I got that wrong, maybe, who was talking about posting links and videos on the Facebook page, which is great. And that's something that could actually make a full-on blog that could be hosted on her website. So she can say, here are the new tools that I've come across, or new videos that I've come across, and put them on her site. So then she's sort of becoming a curator, and it's work she's already doing. Now that's just in a different format. So you can easily take things and repurpose them on different formats. And then this is something that I think a lot of times authors sort of forget, is that sometimes you can hire people to do social media for you. I have people who do that. I'm not a big fan of that. I don't recommend that. And people can certainly post for you. I get that, but nobody can listen for you, right? And listening is 50% of the success you're going to have on social media. If you're not listening to people and responding and engaging, really, you're not going to grow your audience. The only way to grow your audience, and I don't mean numbers. To be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of, someone needs to have 10,000 followers for it to be effective. Those days were like 5 years ago. Now it's all about engagement. If nobody's commenting on your posts, that you need to change something there. If nobody is liking anything you're doing, and again, not every post is going to get it. Actually, there was a funny cartoon I saw in the New Yorker, this was a few years ago, where a guy is in the therapy session, and the doctor is saying, let's focus on the posts that people do like, because he was obviously lamenting posts that people don't like, which we all do. But that's the thing to remember, is that engagement is so much more valuable than just sheer numbers. People can actually buy followers. I, again, don't recommend that, but people can do that. What I would say is that if you have 1,000 people, but people are engaged and they're responding, and not everybody's going to respond to everything, but just kind of keep that in mind, that if you have an actually engaged community, those 1,000 people are more valuable than 10,000 people who are not. So 10,000 sounds really fabulous, but I can tell you from my experience that if you don't have an engaged community, you can have as many people. I had one client who had bought some email lists. And again, it was different for different reasons, but overall they had, it was a joint team. They had 66,000 people on their mailing list. And you think 66,000 people, man, you just have to let them know your book is out and you're done, right? What more do you need to do? Because there was no engagement with them, the social media was very static. It was very basically planned out in advance. There wasn't any engagement. I think they sold like 6 books off of that announcement. 66,000 people. It's crazy to think about it, but that's literally what I can tell you. And I know people who have 600 people on their mailing list, and half of them go out and buy the book the moment they say, go buy the book. So just kind of keep that in mind, how important engagement is in the scheme of your marketing. And again, excuse me for 1 second. I didn't want to cough in your ears. So the design part and the engagement part, both of them in your control and for free, right? You don't need to spend $1 on both those things, and they are really very, very important. So that's the 2 phases. Now let's go back. Let's go to the next one. Oh, I think I have. Why is my... I'm sorry. I don't know why suddenly it's frozen. How is that possible? Okay, I'm going to just stop sharing for 2 seconds and then see if I can get that back. I might have to start it over. I'm so sorry. While I do that, because I can multitask, Michelle, if you feel like any questions have come up that I can answer while I do this, let me know.
Well, there was one question earlier, but then it was from Marge, but then she said that you answered it right after she posted it.
Excellent.
So
I love when that happens.
I'm scrolling back through. So far, I don't see any other questions. If you put a question earlier and I missed it, go ahead and repost it real quick down at the bottom. But I'm not seeing anything.
Okay.
This talk is brilliant, by the way.
Oh my gosh, that made my day. Thank you so much. I'm humbled and grateful and all of that. Okay, let's just see. I'm sharing it right now, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's see if this works. Yes. Hooray. All else fail, right? I don't know if you guys have, I have a Mac now, but there was a PC time. Remember the Alt Control Delete, all else fail. Alt Control Delete. I'm a geek, by the way, if you can't tell. Okay, so let's look at the digital tools for this part. Some of you know about Medium already. I'm a fan of Medium. For some of my authors, it's not perfect for everyone, but Medium was started by the same people who started Twitter. So it's the same idea, except no limitations on how much you post. So it's basically a blogging platform with all of the benefits of Twitter, meaning hashtags, and people can follow you and all of those kinds of things. And you can post your blogs on here. One of the things I will tell you is that I think it's important for you to post your blog on your own website first, because search engines like Google will only find your content the first time it is posted. So if you post it on your website, that's what's going to get indexed. And if you post it again on Medium, search engines may not find it, but the Medium community will, and people who follow you will, and all of that. So just a slight kind of technical issue for you to think about. Totally blog on Medium for sure, but definitely keep the SEO benefits for yourself and post it on your site. I did use Medium for a while, a few years ago. And again, because I'm an analytics girl, I looked at my analytics to see if people were coming from Medium to my site, which is my goal for posting it. And honestly, I didn't really see a lot of that. So it was just one extra effort for me. I stopped doing it. I might try it again, see if that changes. But it didn't quite work for me, but it works really well for a lot of clients. So kind of keep that in mind. And then the next one is there's a lot of tools for social media management. I use several of them. You can use any one you like. Hootsuite is the most established one, although not the easiest to use, but it is the most established one. So you might have already heard about it and people use it. One of the benefits for Hootsuite is that for me, Twitter is sort of my #1 platform. I like that the best. And Hootsuite is really great for Twitter because it actually manages, excuse me. It manages conversation and manages hashtags and things like that. So I like Hootsuite. I also use a program called Promo Republic. There's Buffer. So whatever platform you like is fine. The reason these programs are helpful is because social media can be a daunting task. And so having a tool that actually allows you to post things on multiple platforms is really helpful. It'll just help you manage social media a little bit more. You can post things in advance, although I still think the engagement is very important. So you can do a hybrid approach, post things, schedule things, but also keep an eye on comments and likes and things like that. Okay, so now we're going to start on visibility. So visibility, and excuse me for 1 second, I am talking a lot, I think. Hold on. I'm glad it's helpful, the talk. Okay, so visibility. Visibility is the part that most authors are most excited about, right? It's advertising or publicity, getting book reviews, all of those kinds of things. Let's look at what it means. It did it again. You know what it is? When I mute myself and I come back, the program stops. Now I've learned that. I did not know that. So sorry, we're going to do the thing again. I'm going to stop sharing. Close it.
I can only say, at least it's not my fault.
Not your fault at all. All my fault.
Technology can be a hindrance and a help.
It's kind of weird that if you pause it, it stops letting you advance. That's kind of I'm sure it's a glitch. I don't think they meant to do that, but. Yeah, okay. Okay, so I won't mute myself anymore. So you might have to hear me cough. I'm sorry. Okay, so visibility is publicity. And there's a difference between publicity and advertising. A lot of times authors don't know the difference. Publicity, you may pay for a publicist, but it's actually free features. And advertising is actually paid placements. So those are the two different things. And publicity is book reviews, interviews, guest blogging, speaking events, all of those kinds of things. And advertising is, Facebook ads, Google ads, ads in newsletters, ads in magazines, all of those kinds of things are paid. And when you do, excuse me, when you do visibility and it's built on the first two phases, it is so much more effective. Because what happens if someone sees a book review of your book and it's a brilliant review, the thing they're going to do is go search for you. They're going to Google you. They're going to look you up. And so if they look you up and you don't have a website, or you have a website that's utterly dated, or you're not on social media, and there's no way to really connect that good review to you as a writer, you're not going to get the most benefit from it. People might still like it. Maybe they'll even buy a book or two, but when you have an opportunity to really build your platform, you want to make sure that you're leveraging it to the best of your ability. So a lot of times, and you might have heard this, and as a publicist, I take great issue in this, but authors will say, oh, my publicity didn't work. And I think a lot of times you have to really think about what it is that didn't work. You know, did they not get features? Was the book review? A lot of times, if the book jacket is not attractive or not a well-designed, professional-looking website, you're not going to get publicity because people don't want an ill-designed jacket on their website. So it's really important for you to know why you're not getting what you're expecting. I'm so sorry. So if you build your platform on these step-by-step formula, I promise you the effort you put into it is going to be so much more valuable to you than trying to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that and trying to mash it all together. Start with doing some research, set an agenda for what your goals are, do design, do engagement, build it on top of it, and then build visibility on top. And I promise you the efforts you make will be so much more effective for you. And you can be a brand new author to start with this formula, or you could be an author who's been publishing for 10 years and you can still say, you know what, something is not working for me. I need to take a step back. I'm going to follow this formula that Fauzia has come up with, and I'm going to see how much better I do for my books going forward. So that's the visibility part. The digital tool here, there's one that I really recommend for you guys. It's called HARO. It's called Help a Reporter Out. And basically what it means is that every day you get a free news. If you sign up for a mailing list with them, I have no connection with them, by the way. Every day, twice a day, they send out this huge list of journalists who are looking for story ideas, who are looking for experts. And sometimes, you know, if you're a nonfiction author, obviously it's a lot more appropriate. But even if you write fiction, they might be a personal story for you that might work as a reference. They might be something that, you know, a Bride magazine is looking for couples who met on a cruise ship. I'm making it up. But it might be that that's an opportunity for you to do it. And it's a free source. Lots of my clients use it. You have to jump on it though, because millions of people subscribe to it and everybody's trying to get on it. But I have personally, and I've seen other clients get really great features out of a HARO listing. So, you know, it's a quick 10-minute scroll through, see if there's something appropriate for you that you can respond to. If you can, send them a quick email. That's it. If it gets through, great. If it doesn't get through, no big deal. But it's a free resource for you to use. So that's something to kind of think about. So there's my formula. Design plus engagement plus visibility equals book marketing success. It is my own crazy formula, but I really believe that it makes a big impact on two things. One is your success, which we all want, but also your peace of mind and your sanity. Because if you try to do all of these three aspects at the same time, feeling that they're equally important, you're going to drive yourself a little crazy. So that's that. That's my my contact information, my Twitter handle and my website. I'm going to open it up to your questions, and then I have a few links that I can put in chat for you. So that's my presentation, and I want to make sure that I can answer your questions because that's what's most important.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm so glad it was helpful.
So we have a lot of questions in chat, but I'd love to have people actually ask their own questions. So that way it would be more personal. So I see Ellen has her hand raised. You want to unmute?
That was supposed to be just an applause for Fauzia.
Yeah.
A terrific presentation.
Absolutely.
Yay. Thank you,
Yeah.
Ellen. I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Well, I'll go ahead and ask my question then, if I could have the floor. Okay. Fauzia, I was of the maybe mistaken understanding that blogging was sort of over, because I put my content in a newsletter that I send to, an audience that has the privilege of signing up for it. And if I give away that stuff, why should they sign up for my newsletter? I wondered if that's at cross purposes.
So I think that's a really good question, Lynn. And there are two different purposes for those blogs. I don't think blogs are passe. The reason you blog, and I was doing a podcast with someone recently who's got a good platform, and I was telling her, how important blogs are for bringing traffic to your website. So the two reasons you do free blogs is to bring traffic to your website and to show people your expertise. If you're a nonfiction writer, you show them your expertise through obviously expressing your expertise. If you're a fiction writer, then you show off your writing. So those are the two reasons that you need to do blog. And this woman who I was doing the podcast with in real time went and checked her analytics, and she said, wow, 50% of the people who come to my website come for the blog. I was like, that's okay. So you don't have to blog, but you'll probably lose 50% of your traffic. And none of us can afford to lose 50% of our traffic.
Yeah.
So I would say, Lynn, if you've got a blog where people pay for that content, you may want to do a blog that's for free, that doesn't quite give away all of the nuggets, but gives something of value that people go, wow, this was so valuable. I think I'm going to sign up for her mailing list and get more.
If I could clarify, no, my blog would be free. I just blog on WordPress like everybody else, but I had stopped blogging in favor of retaining my material for my newsletter. I write fiction, but I thought if they can just go to my blog and, they wouldn't bother to sign up for so how would the material that you write in a newsletter be more precious and keep them signed up than what you would give away for free on a blog?
Yeah, so this is what I do. And again, you have to find the right rhythm for your own audience, because each one of us has a different group of people who are wanting to get information from us. I'm a big fan of, if my expertise is valuable to people, it's fine for free, right? So I'm fine with that. So in my newsletter, I put links to the blogs that I post on my website. So the newsletter for me is, and you can sign up for it. I'll send you my link in case you guys want to do that. Basically, and I only send it once every 3 months, because I think most of us don't have time to read a lot of newsletters, to be honest with you. So I use my newsletter as sort of a summary of the last 3 months. So I'll put in my new blog posts, I'll put in any new events I'm doing. It's sort of like I think of it as a digest version, but blogs are all on my website for sure.
Wow, what an interesting concept. Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope it helps you.
Okay.
Thanks.
I'm going to ask you about a content list. Do you have like a suggested approach to try to help people develop their content?
Content list? I'm sorry, tell me a little bit about what you mean, Dennis.
For example, starting out with material, I'm just kind of wondering what kinds of things you might suggest people look at to be able to have things to talk about on their blogs, or especially since I'm new to launching some things.
Okay, so this is actually a really good question. It obviously depends on what you write. There isn't a one size fit all for everyone. Obviously, what I write is going to be very different than what Lynn writes. So I think what you need to think about is, I usually work with my clients where we come up with an editorial calendar for the upcoming month. So you look at March, and one of the things I did on my blog is actually come up with a list of, them kind of made up dates, but still, March is Women's History Month. So, that's a topic that maybe is timely. If you can connect that to what you write, again, Dennis, I don't know what you write, so it would be hard for me to say, but if one of you is a historical fiction person, there was someone, a Dickens fan here, I remember, you can use Women's History Month and connect it to your characters or connect it to your timeline. I've also on my blog posted social media sort of hashtags and topics that you can blog on or do social media posts on for March. So believe it or not, there is a National Potato Chip Day in March. I had no idea until just this last week. And considering I have already shared with you my love for potato chips, I will be posting on that day about potato chips. And I have a perfect post in my head about what I want to do. So you can look at that. There is a, so on my website, in my blog, there are 2 new blogs. One is the demographics that I talked about. And the other one is actually March social media ideas. And maybe you look at that and say, you know what, I could probably turn this whole thing into a whole blog post, or it's just a social media post or something like that. But generally, you want it to be something where everybody's kind of paying attention. So for example, in March, you're not going to be posting something about Thanksgiving. So try to be as timely with where you are. If you're interested in gardening, February and March is big gardening time, so talk about that. Those kinds of things. I hope that helps, Dennis. Great.
Okay, Jerry had a question. Jerry Green, do you want to ask your own question, or do you want me to read it from the chat?
Okay, hi. Thank you so much. This has been very informative. I have done pitch wars before, and that's how I figured out how to get on Twitter. I just wanted to know your opinion on that, the pit mad, and what do you think?
I think they're all great. Why not? You know, there's no harm in it. There's no cost to it. I think they're all fine. I mean, it's overwhelming. I don't know how the editors and agents who are on there even look at it, because it feels overwhelming to me. But if you enjoy that format and you don't mind doing it, I think there's nothing wrong with it. Definitely.
Okay, and then with the Twitter account now, I'm just trying to find things to put on there just to keep my presence on Twitter.
Yeah.
But it's not very interesting to me. I just
You know what, Jerry? I'm going to tell you, you don't need to be on Twitter.
Okay.
You can be on Twitter just for the pitch wars and not anything else. Pick the time when authors were expected to do every platform under the sun is over. We all realized that was craziness. It drove us all nuts. Okay. It's really important to, do I get an applause for that? Come on, I'm just totally took work off of your plate like this on a Saturday. You just need to pick maybe 1 or 2 platforms that you actually enjoy, and preferably where your audience hangs out. So you don't need to be on every single platform, because if you're not happy to be there, nobody's happy to have you there. There are millions of people, right? Blogging and tweeting and posting, all of that.
Okay, and can I convert it just at my Facebook page into an author platform, sort of?
Yeah, you definitely can. So on Facebook, you have 2 options. There's the personal page, and then there's the, like an author page. Most authors will create that author page because you feel a little bit more that you can answer any questions, and it's all book related, and you don't have to feel like I've got to balance it out with everything else.
Okay.
But one thing to remember is that your author page will always have less interaction than your personal page, because your personal page is your family and friends. They care about you. That's always going to have more engagement than your author page. The reason you want an author page is so you can talk about your book in a dedicated way, that you don't have to feel like embarrassed that, oh man, people are going to hate me, I'm keep talking about my book. And if you ever wanted to do advertising, you need an author page to do advertising. But if you're happy with your personal page, it's working for you, there's no reason for you to change that. Enjoy Facebook. Enjoy it if you like it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mary had a question regarding Hootsuite and Buffer, and how they also handle Goodreads. So Mary, did you want to ask your question more succinctly than that?
Sure. And actually, I think also if you get to, 5,000 friends on Facebook, then you have to switch to a author page, right? As opposed to a personal. Okay. Yeah. And so my question about the platforms that let you do the calendar and all that is, I don't think I've seen any of those support Goodreads, which in my mind is the, if you're going to do one social media, you want to do the one where the reader
That's a really good point, Mary, and I completely agree with you. The thing with Goodreads is that no other platform is integrated with it for sure. It is really beneficial for people who write fiction and sometimes memoirs, and it's a very female-oriented platform. So, excuse me. So if you have written a topic that is nonfiction, Goodreads is not exactly where you'd want to hang out. So you just have to plan, and Goodreads can absolutely be one of your two, for sure. But you're right, it is not, it's an ideal platform for some people, but not for other people.
Okay, Cindy Finkelstein also had a question. Cindy, did you want to ask your question?
Okay. I just basically, you talked about, I had a question about what do you think about other alternatives to present yourself, like on videos or radio podcasts? Because I'll be honest with you, my mailbox is jam-packed with authors that send me every single thought about their life, and it's getting overwhelming, so much so that unfortunately yesterday I had to cut a whole bunch of them. So
could not agree with you more, which is why my newsletter is every 3 months, because I know nobody wants to hear from me more than that, you know? Nobody wants to hear from anybody more than that, in my opinion. But there are people who blog all the time. There are people who blog every day, all that kind of stuff. So I'm with you on that, Cindy. I think that just like you don't have to use every single social media platform, you also can use different options for engagement. So video, if you're good at video and you enjoy video, more power to you. It is only growing. TikTok is going to be, I mean, it's already escalating. It's going to be phenomenal, I think, in the next couple of years. So keep an eye on TikTok for sure. There's a new platform called Clubhouse. It's invitation only right now. So it's for early adopters, but it could be a really interesting one. It's audio only social network. So it's the same idea. People are getting together in chats and talking on audio. Maybe that'll take off as an alternative, but you are completely right. I don't know if we can read any more stuff. You know, we are drowning in reading emails and blog posts and social media platforms. It's a lot. So I think the other alternatives are already brewing. Like TikTok is getting popular for that reason. Instead of reading a whole blog post, you can get a 30-second video. People are opting for that. YouTube is the second largest social network, yes, but also the second largest search engine after Google. So people go to Twitter and find information, YouTube, and get information on video. So there are lots of different options. I think you're absolutely right. We are drowning in words. And I think people are not, because it's free, you know, if we charged people for how much words they can put out, maybe they'd be a little bit more mindful, but because it's free, people like to write. There's a lot of that going on. I'm 100% in agreement with you, but there's a lot of other options and you should explore those if you're interested, for sure.
George Gurney had a question. George?
How can I help you, George?
You there, George?
Michelle, I don't think he has a microphone. He might need to
I'll
read his chat question.
I'll read his question then. It is, what is the best way to get people to write a review of your book?
First, write a really good book. Second, make sure that it has a really good jacket, because people judge a book by its cover, no matter what you have heard. That is absolutely true. I'm a publicist. I can tell you it's not an easy game. It's a lot of effort to ask people to review your book. Start with your first initial network of people who like and respect you and would be willing to do that for you, and then grow out from there. So a lot of authors think that some stranger out there is going to find their book and fall in love with it and review it. That happens not as often as you would like. So the most important thing is, I'm going to send a text to my husband to ask me to bring me some water. So give me 1 second.
I'm looking at the chat. If I've already bypassed your question in chat, repost it real quick because there's a lot of chats going on. I'm trying to keep up with it.
Yay, I love that. I'm so glad that you're all engaged, right? Because that's what I want to do when I'm here. I didn't want to give you a static presentation that you can listen to afterwards or watch afterwards. I want to honor the time that you've given me by being here. So let's keep the interaction going and, keep asking.
Okay. Lynette, you posted in the chat, it was more of a statement than a question. Did you actually have a question for Fauzia?
No, I don't. I think that Jerry was concerned about the social media. I think it was Jerry that asked the question. And if, like Fauzia was saying, if you picked 2 social medias, actually you kind of get 2 for 1 on Facebook and Instagram because you can post on the one and it puts it on both platforms. Some people find that helpful. So I just thought I'd throw that out there.
I have a question. Which one posts both, Facebook or Instagram?
I usually do it from Facebook. I'm going to throw that back over to Fauzia.
But they're owned by the same company. Facebook owns Instagram, so you can actually post from one to the other. It's pretty easy. I will throw in one little caveat on that, which is that that it is not ideal, in my opinion, for building engagement. Because in some ways, you're basically saying, I'm not here, but my content is so good that you should totally interact with it, right? And imagine if that was true in real life, where you're not in a house or a room, but you've sent a video recording or an audio recording and you're like, yeah, keep talking to this person. I'm not here, but go ahead and engage. So you can do the twofer. People do it. I totally get it. I always joke where it's like, if you follow them on both, do you stop following them on one because you're getting their content anyway? Or if you've liked it on one, do you also have to like it on the other one? Or, it's just, I think it's fine to do. People do it all the time. I personally am not a fan. I'm just going to say that.
Okay.
Karen Robertson had a question. Would you like to ask your question, Karen?
Sure. I just retired from 10 years as a comic. And so my website shows me as a stand-up comic. And I love my website because it has videos that make people laugh.
Perfect.
So can I just, do I have to make a whole new website or can I just add a book? Oh, you are going to make me so happy. I can tell already.
Not only that, Karen, I'm going to tell you that if you love anything you're doing, you never want to stop that. So bravo to you for loving your website. Who says that? I love my website. I'm thrilled that you love your website. You already have a built-in traffic on that website. You are definitely going to throw your book right on that site, build it all under one umbrella. People who find your videos helpful will be more likely to read your book. People who read your book will be more likely to watch your videos, all under one roof. No need to create a second website.
Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Wanted to hear that for sure.
I didn't expect that answer, but thank you so much.
I am just taking things off of your to-do lists, aren't I?
Yes,
Kathleen Osborne had a question. Kathleen,
what can I do for you?
Are you muted, Kathleen? I think you're muted.
Mute myself. There you go. Okay. My question is if you publish your newsletter, say once every quarter, what is a good way to get people to your blog and to your website?
That's a really good question, Kathleen. Sorry, did you finish the question?
No, I have another question after that, though.
Okay.
It's in there.
It's a twofer. Okay, let's start with one. So the reason I don't do my newsletter that often is because, and again, that's just my priority, right? Other authors do it every month. That's fine. If I had a big project coming up, if I had a book coming up, which more power to you, man, I wrote one book and I'm exhausted. I can't even imagine writing another one, but I'm proud of all the authors who do that. But if I had something big coming up, I would absolutely do more of that. You know, that's the opportunity for me to say, hey, I do have something important. I'm going to share it more often. But in general, once every 3 months is fine. The reason people do social media, Kathleen, is that on my site, about 60% of my website traffic comes from social media.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I post my blogs on social media and they come back and read it on my website. The newsletter, I feel, is really more of a digest. You know, so it's kind of like an overview of things that are happening, things that are coming up. So this one that I just sent last week, I think, or earlier in the week, I've lost track, talked about March, right? Planning for March and all of those kinds of things. And again, I'm not going to do one for April, but I'm going to post a blog about it on April. So that's just the way I've worked it, because I think monthly would just, it's too much for me to do too, to be honest with you, you know, coming up with new good content that is valuable to people. I have day job, so.
I totally agree with that. And I get so overwhelmed. You know, I just cleaned out my inbox and in 2 days it was over 700 emails.
Crazy.
And that's not the promotion side. The promotion was thousands.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just a couple of days.
Yeah.
So, but my second question is, what do you think of one-on-one marketing, where somebody would go to a local market or a local event, set up a table, maybe having copies of their newsletter out and having a sign-up sheet for getting emails?
That's a brilliant idea. Remember those quaint days where we could be in public and do those kinds of things? I think it's a great idea. And in all honesty, when I'm at giving an actual presentation that Michelle has seen, she probably got on my mailing list that way. You can tell people, go sign up for my mailing list, but there's something weird about getting a sign-up sheet. I don't know, it's from our grade school memory or something. We all just automatically sign up. I don't know how people do that, but I think if you have an opportunity like that, it's part of that visibility. So you want to do those events, but make sure that you've got the breadcrumbs leading back to your brand, meaning your website is good, that they can go back to your website and all of those kinds of things. But the events are part of that visibility and you should absolutely do them.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. And actually, I heard Fauzia's husband speak first before I ever met Fauzia. And I took the 14-day free trial on PubSite Pro, and I've had that website ever since. So I am I'm a customer as well as a follower of Fauzia.
Yes.
Good.
Sorry, Michelle, I'm going to use that segue to just kind of talk about PubSite for 2 seconds. As I said, it's a platform for building author websites. If you are happy with your website, stay put. Stay wherever you are, whichever platform you like. There's lots of things that you know, they're out there that work for people. But if you are thinking about moving, or like me, you hate WordPress with a passion, that's just me. You don't have to. Some people love it. And you want to transfer over, PubSite is a great option. You can convert all of your blogs. You can import your blogs into PubSite, which is what I did because I've been blogging for 10 years. So if you are interested in PubSite, 2 things. One is that for everyone here and your community, we have a special offer. So the first year, you can get PubSite for $14.99 a month instead of $19.99 a month. So I'm putting that in the chat for everyone in case you're interested. So you still get that 14-day free trial. If you like it, then you go to this link and sign up. And then the second thing I will say is that John, who is literally the tech genius behind PubSite, is giving a free webinar on the 5th, I think, and you can sign up for it. And I'm putting that in the link as well.
Is it the 5th or the 2nd? Oh. Let me look at my schedule.
I know it's a Friday. I don't know.
Okay.
I thought it was 5th.
I think you're right. I'll double check though.
Okay, yeah. So it's on that link if you're interested, and you can just sign up for it, you know, and he'll actually walk you through how easy it is to build a website and we can answer questions that are specifically for books and websites itself. So thank you for letting me have that little segue.
It's 11 a.m. to 12:30 next Friday, March 5th is what it is, because I've got it on my schedule. So on to Howard, who has been waiting patiently. He has a question regarding time management.
How can I help you, Howard?
Yes, I'm a writer, and a writer likes to write.
Yes.
But then if you have to do the business part as well, you have a time management problem.
100%.
So is there any kind of balance that you see that works for people?
So Howard, that's sort of more a philosophical question, right? But I think if nothing else, you do need, I mean, the title of my book is literally Online Marketing for Busy Authors, and it's a short little book because most authors don't really want to spend a lot of time doing marketing. They want to write. That's kind of what they want to do. But if you don't do marketing, nobody finds your writing. So it's kind of a, the downside, the dark side of having a passion like writing. I would say, if you can set a schedule, sometimes I tell authors to maybe just have an hour a day, half an hour in the morning, maybe half an hour at night where you're checking in on social media, maybe on a weekend or on a Friday where you can write some blogs and make sure, it's also these tools. Like that's all new too. Learning, website tools and graphic tools and mailing list tools and all that takes a little bit of learning. So it's hard for me to answer that question, Howard, because it's so specialized and so individual. But I will say that if you do not carve out some time for the marketing, it's hard to find readers. So, it's just, there is no right answer. There's no way to say, I feel like I've taken as much as I can off of everybody's plate, but what's left, you kind of have to do.
Yeah, I just want to add a note. I think that if you're a traditionally published author and they still want you to do it anyway, to do the marketing, what good, and they want to give you a lesser royalty, what good is that? It's just, you do the marketing and give them some money for publishing your book. It doesn't sound great to me.
I know, Howard, that's a philosophical thing that people, I think, dealing with right now, which I think maybe why hybrid publishing is becoming so popular. I think there's a lot of authors who definitely feel the sting of that arrangement. But what I will tell you is that for a first-time author, your first book being published traditionally will give you benefits of credibility. So that's one option. You don't have to stay that way for authors who stay with publishers. They have a really good publisher, or they love their agent, or they love their editor. There's a million different reasons why. But I hear you, I published my book with a publisher called Barrett Kohler. They're in San Francisco. And I get 75 cents every time I sell a book. If I had published it myself, I would have made probably, I would have priced it lower because I would have had the full control over that. And I would have made $7 for every book that sold.
Wow.
Big difference.
Big difference.
But it was my first book and getting the credibility of a publisher. And I happen to love my publisher. You don't hear that very often. So for that reason, I did that.
Can I just add something real quick to that? And I saw you in Fallbrook. Great to see you again. So my husband, David Putnam, who a lot of you saw a couple of years ago, he came and spoke. He was the sheriff's deputy that now he has about 10 books out that were traditionally published, but with a small publisher that does a lot. They pay for a lot of the advertising. They did a brilliant hardcover, which he always wanted. But he also has some self-published books. But people were asking about generating content and so forth. And he is not technical at all. So I try to automate everything for him as easy as possible. He does his writing first thing in the morning. He's very regimented. But I set up a Google alert, which is where, and I don't know if you talked about this already, but you can put in a Google alert will email you if for specific topics related to your book. Like I put in, police corruption and foster children, and of course your own name, because if you get some free publicity and you don't know about it. But then once an article, that comes to that curating thing that Fauzia was talking about. So I told him, if you see an interesting article you think will appeal to your, your readers, click on the little birdie, and that would tweet it for him real easily, you know. And then I also had it set up in WordPress where the Twitter feed would go onto his page, so he'd get a little more fresh content. So there are a couple of ways you can automate things and to automatically get content coming to you. Any case, I just want to throw that out there.
That's a brilliant idea, Mary. Thank you so much for sharing that. I completely agree with you. Having a Google Alert set up for yourself, and on Twitter, you can set up, it's called a warble.net or .co, Warble Alert anyway, where it just searches your name on Twitter. So if someone mentions you, just make sure that when you do set up these alerts, that you put quotation marks around it, because then if you don't put quotation marks around it, then every time they come up with any Fauzia, it would show up. Any Burke, it would show up. And Fauzia is a very common name in one area of the world, and Burke is a very common name in another part of the world. And so putting it in quotation marks keeps me unique and makes sure that only my name comes to me, because none of us need any more email. And same thing with subject category. Don't get overly ambitious and sign up for every option. You know, you want to make sure that you do it selectively so it does actually help you. Very great point for content. I remember someone had asked about content ideas. That's a great way to get content ideas. So everyone else, you should just follow whatever Mary's doing, because that sounds like a good plan. She should speak next time after me. And so say, remember what Fauzia said? Here's how you actually do it.
Maybe we'll rope her into that. See, I told you we had a great group.
Yes, you do. Michelle was great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming, obviously. Lynn had another question, and I guess because she's asked them before she wanted me to, says, let's see, please ask if you think Pinterest is useful for fiction authors.
Oh, that's a tricky question. So I'm going to go back to what I've said in the beginning, which is if you love Pinterest, you should spend all your time there. Fine. I'm big on loving things. It's hard. Life is hard enough. You don't need to hate anything. You know, I get on calls and people are like, oh, I hate so-and-so. I'm like, then you should stop doing that. Just right away. Just please stop doing it. Nobody needs it. Nobody needs any of that. So Pinterest, if you just love it and you think it's the best platform and you enjoy it, you should definitely stay on it. Here's the things about Pinterest that you should know. It's predominantly a female audience. So that's something to know. It's very obviously design, cooking, home decor friendly. So if your book has that elements to it, you're in your tribe. It's a good thing to be in there. If you think you can post graphics and material about a particular topic that is of interest to that group, it's great. I started off in Pinterest when it was, you know, I'm an early adopter, right? This is my world. And I posted a bunch of stuff about social media and digital marketing and all of that. And in the beginning, it was actually driving a lot of traffic to me. But then Pinterest evolved into what I just said, which is cooking, design, that kind of stuff. And that social media marketing stuff actually kind of started falling off. People weren't as interested and I wasn't getting the benefit from it. So I stopped doing it. So I don't personally do it because that's not my audience and it's not something that brings me that much joy. But if you like curating, because that's the skill set you need there. If you enjoy curating, if you enjoy design, if your books have anything to do with that, one of a novelist I know that's on there is a historical fiction one, and she does all of the costumes from period pieces and movies of that period and things. And I think that's really cool and very cute. But again, if you're doing it surely because, oh, once I get on Twitter, my books are going to start selling like crazy, there's no magic formula anywhere. So focus on the things you like, engage with the people, your tribe, and you'll be fine.
Okay, we have time for about one more question.
Well, we've got a couple more. Let me try to get through these as quickly as possible, Jim. I don't want to miss anybody if we can.
Okay.
Marge had a question. Marge just had a book launch, and I think I overheard her say she had 56 on Amazon this week, which is pretty cool. She had a question on how to drive new people to a new blog.
So I am actually going to post that link I had mentioned about my worksheet. So that's going in right now. Okay, traffic to your blogs. Basically through, it's you sort of think about it as the hub and the spokes of a wheel kind of thing. So your blogs are in the middle on your website. Hopefully people come for the blogs, they stay for the books, right? That's the ideal. And then each of these activities that you do, each blog post, each social media, newsletter, all of those kinds of things that you do brings people back to your website. So that's why you do it. As I said, majority of the traffic that comes to my website comes from social media. And because I'm a data nerd, I actually know which platforms are more effective for me than others. And which is why I can say, you know what, I don't think I'm going to do Pinterest anymore. All of the decisions I make are based on data, based on what's working for me. And it changes because obviously people change, the platforms change. So I'll stop there and let Michelle do the last question. Go ahead, Michelle.
Okay, I think we have like 2 more left, which might put us a couple minutes over. Are you okay with that, or do you want just one?
Okay with that. Go for it.
Okay, great. So Dennis had another question. He just signed with an agent like a week ago. And he has a question regarding publishing. So go ahead, Dennis.
Oh, I just wanted to ask how you would publicize the agent signing event, if that's worth publicizing.
So here's the thing. A lot of people want to get an agent, right? So there's a benefit to like saying, hey, I got an agent, because in some way it builds credibility because the agent has vetted your information and found it worthy of signing you. So there's something there for that reason. Of course, if, that doesn't mean the book has sold yet. It could be another 2 years before the book sells. You don't know. It could be tomorrow. It could be 2 years from now. So I don't know. If you feel like you want to celebrate that, then I say you do it. Go for it and say, hey, I just got a great agent here, especially on social media. Post a link to their website, tag them, something like that. I'm so excited, love meeting her or him, and looking forward to a great relationship, something like that. There's no harm in it. Nobody's going to be like, Dennis, how dare you do that? So if you feel like doing it, back to loving it, Dennis. If you love doing that, do it. So I'm totally on board with it.
Ellen had a question. What about trying to get a review in a newspaper or magazine? What's the best way to do that?
So that's a whole other session. Maybe I'll come back to do the publicity session for you guys someday. But it'd be hard for me to answer that in the 2 seconds that we have. But basically, you want to start with your local newspapers. Look at the masthead. If there's a book review editor, which most local papers do not have, and now national papers even have limited, send the book there for review. Make sure that you start with, address it to someone's attention, because if you just send it to the newspaper, it's not going to work. But make sure your book is really well written, it's really well edited, you have a really good book jacket, and that your platform is built enough that people are like, you know what, I'm going to promote this author. Because if your website is dated, your cover doesn't look good, it doesn't matter how good your book is, it probably won't get through the door because you're competing with 1 million new books a year.
Probably a minute at this point. The last one that I have here is more of a question for the parrot. I think Cindy said that the parrot has raised its wing 3 times with a question. So Daniel, is your parrot really wanting to ask a question, or is he just, mugging for the camera? What's going on?
I do speak parrot, so give it a shot. I'm bilingual, so. What can I help?
I don't think he's going to
parrot
answer.
with?
Daniel? I guess not. Okay, if there aren't any last questions, I'll turn the moderating back over. Oh, I saw a hand. Wait a minute. From 439435.
Yeah, sorry, it's Marilyn.
I do not speak numbers. That is not my skill set.
I just have a quick question on blog again. You say to have the blog on your website rather than separate?
That's my preference because it gives you the biggest benefit to your platform, because you are doing the work anyway. if you put it on your website first, then you get the SEO benefit, and then you can post it elsewhere or maybe do it in a newsletter or whatever. But the first one, I believe you get the most benefit out of it. You should post it on your own website to build traffic.
And is that blog, is it through a separate agent than the website? Like, is it WordPress, or how does that work?
So some platforms don't have a built-in blog. PubSite does have a built-in blog. So you can actually just start blogging as soon as you start off your site. You can start the same day. You can start blogging that minute. WordPress is kind of different because it is a blogging platform, but for it to look like a website that you want for an author, you actually have to redesign it or buy a template or something like that. It's not natural. With PubSite, we kind of combine those two things. So you can actually get a fully designed website and then add a blog to it very easily.
And the first year discount on PubSite, is that a special, you have to put in a special link or anything?
Yeah, so the link I sent, which I'll send again, you do have to sign up from that link, because it then automatically gives you the $14.95.99 for the first year. But you're welcome to ask any questions. Come to the demo with John, and we'll answer any of your website questions. And yeah, so I hope this helps you all. If you're feeling anxious, go get my book. It's not a plug. I really mean it. It was written to reduce anxiety level and make marketing fun and easy and hopefully enjoyable. You don't have to hate it. There is a way to not hate it. So,
and since she only makes 75 cents, it's not like,
I love the book. I give it an endorsement. It was really fascinating reading. It had a lot of questions that I went back and answered. So it was really effective.
Thank you,
good job.
I appreciate it. Yes, exactly. As Michelle said, it's not making me rich. I really wrote it to make people's life easy. But I do a lot of other things too.
Yeah. So buy 10 of them.
I would like to thank you, Fauzia, for this. This has been incredible. You've done a great job. I really enjoyed it. I know everyone else has too. Before we go, I do have one last thing. That's Joe, and Joe is going to tell us about next speaker. Although
wait, could we express our appreciation before we go on to the next topic? Because I would just like to say this is one of the best presentations I have ever attended.
Oh,
so thank you so much.
Thank
Yes,
you
Fauzia.
so much.
Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste to you too. I am grateful to be here. I love being able to help, and I'm glad that I was able to do it. And Lynn, clearly you watch a lot of videos, so if you think it's good, we'll take it. And yeah, I switched my presentation around because it used to have a lot more slides, but I find that on Zoom, interacting with people and answering their actual questions just seems to keep everybody engaged instead of zoning out on slide decks and things. So you validated that choice, Lynn. Thank you. I appreciate it. I really enjoyed meeting all of you. I'm going to run and I'm around. You can reach me. You can follow me. If you can't find me, I've certainly done a bad job then. So I will hopefully interact with you in other formats. And I really enjoyed meeting you all. So thank you for your questions.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Joe, would you like to tell us about our next speaker?
Our next speaker is Kathy Macias, who is a local author. In fact, she only lives a few blocks from me, but she has published, 57 books under her own name and collaborated on several more. She's going to speak about editing, and that's something that us editors for the magazine are really wanting to stress. So please show up for the next meeting. March 27th.
All right. It's been wonderful, everybody. Fauzia was just terrific, and I want to thank you, Michelle, for getting her. She was
A1, yeah,
just absolutely terrific, and I really enjoyed it. And I thought, and not just enjoyed, but I mean, it was very helpful and gave me some pointers to look into also. So with that, everybody have a good month, and we will see you in March.
Okay,
Yeah.
see
Hey,
ya.
Vicky.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Hey, Vicky, how's Daisy?
Good. She's getting big. She's good.